If you are like me, then you are looking forward to Street Fighter 6. Unfortunately, yeah, that's such a long ass time before I'm able to get my hands on lovely little Manon. Happy Manon Day, by the way. Anyways, while we're waiting, I thought why not talk about other games, right? Other games that you can play during that time period. These are games that you can sink a lot of time into, get a lot of enjoyment out of, and I think they are just really good. I can vouch for all of them. Now, I tried my best to make sure that these games are widely available, so I'm straying a little bit away from exclusives. There will be one or two heroes there on this list, and they are not in any particular order. Like you know, I love my video games. So let's get this party started with the first one, which I'm pretty sure is gonna surprise a lot of people. I'm sure a lot of you are like, what is this? And yeah, that is Pokemon, and specifically I'm talking here about competitive Pokemon because it's a ton of fun, and I really got into it with Pokemon Sword and Shield. It was my first game in a very long time, and I really loved it. Competitive Pokemon, especially the VGC format, the official format, is doubles 2v2. You get to pick a team of Pokemon, 6, and then you kinda have to choose 4 to go into battle, and you can have 2 of them at the same time. There is a ton of depth here. I know if you played the single player games, you think just big fire versus grass and everything, but competitive is really crazy. There is a ton that you have to consider, from the Pokemon types, their stats, their movesets, their abilities, their EVs, IVs, weather conditions, status elements. There is a ton here that goes into it, a ton of strategy. I know that getting your Pokemon competitive ready can be a pain in the ass, but thankfully they introduced the ability to rent teams, so you can go and start immediately competitive battling. I will highly recommend it, and it's a ton of fun. Believe me, it's a ton of fun. You will have a great time with it if you're more into the strategic element of combat. Well, if you want something a little bit more serious, then Nier Automata is a game for you. This is a masterpiece. It's a flawed masterpiece, but I do think it's a masterpiece nonetheless. One of my favorite games of all time, and I don't even know where to begin with this one. The story is phenomenal, it's sad, it's very depressing, but it's incredibly good. The combat system, for an action RPG, this is honestly way better than anything else. Take a look at these combos, man. They're like Devil May Cry and Bayonetta level combat in an RPG game. That is just great. And the story, the ending, the characters, they will leave a ton of impact on you. To this day, this probably have one of the saddest moments that I have ever seen in a video game, and just one of my most memorable, at least for me. If you haven't yet, I will highly recommend you give this a shot. I know it's not for everyone, and the 9S segments can be a little bit tedious, but this is very much the case of the sum of the parts being greater than the individual ones. Of course, Final Fantasy VII, of course, right? Because this is a game that I'm sure most of you have already played it, but if you haven't, then I will highly recommend that you do so. It's a really nice JRPG, the combat system is really good, have a decent lens, have wider appeal, I will say, than Nier Automata. I'm sure a lot of people will find it easier to get into, and it's one of these games that will always be a discussion point among gamers, now and for the future, obviously because of the story and what might happen in the upcoming sequels. If you wanna get in on the discussions, then you kinda need to play this one. At least get the discussion of Tifa or Aris. I am personally Team Aris, which I know will actually surprise a lot of people, but yeah, Final Fantasy VII, I can't recommend it enough. Marvel's Spider-Man, and as someone who was just a gigantic fan of Spider-Man 2 back on PS2 as a child, oh my god, this game makes me feel young again. I don't know how to describe it, but it's just so good. I absolutely love the whip swinging, the story is actually really interesting and take risks for the Spider-Man character, and it's one of these games where the story is really good, but when you get to play, well, it's a video game, right? There's a lot of gameplay here, and this one I think much more than most of the AAA titles, and I think at least a little bit more interactive, or maybe it's just my bias because I absolutely love Spider-Man and the superhero genre, I don't know, but what I do know is that this game is awesome, and I highly recommend you checking it out. Oh my god, you owe it to yourself to play a Yakuza game. If you have never done so, this is a series that you must try out, in all honesty. These games are amazing. Remember when I said the cutscenes can be all serious, but when it's game, well, this is Yakuza. Because the stories are amazing, they are long, dramatic, they're honestly awesome, but the gameplay is always a ton of fun and there's a ton of humor in there as well. I absolutely recommend these games. If you're going for an action game, I will say go for Yakuza Kiwami 2. Personally, I think it's the best, although a lot of people will recommend Yakuza 0 as well. And if you want just a fresh start and without any knowledge of what's going on and just want something that's a little bit more laid back, I will also highly recommend Yakuza Like a Dragon, because Kasuga is a sick character and you really need to experience his story. I absolutely love these games and I'm really excited for Yakuza 8. I can't wait. You didn't think I was gonna forget about some good ass Tekken, because obviously Tekken 7 is a fantastic game to play right now. There is a ton to learn in this game. Just basic movement is something that you kind of have to practice, and it will take you a good amount of time actually. And the good thing about Tekken is that everything you will learn will carry over, because this series is very legacy based. There's so much characters in this game right now, you can pick up whoever you want, combos can be really satisfying, they can be hard or difficult depending on how much you want to optimize, and you even got some really cool 2D characters like Akuma, who will actually help you a little bit with their Street Fighter skills, especially when it comes to their specific execution, and he's a blast. Or maybe you just wanna play King and do one of these long ass throw chains, you can't go wrong with Tekken regardless of what you do. Oh boy, I must stress that this game is not for everyone, right? Because some people may get offended by what's in Dragon's Crown, but if you're not, then you're in for a treat, because this game is amazing. I love it. I have been playing it almost for 10 years, I keep going back to it, and now you can find it very cheap on PSN for like $3. Dragon's Crown is what happens when you mix Diablo with a beat-em-up side-scroller like Final Fight or Streets of Rage. The graphics, the animations, the beauty in display here is just awesome. The art is fantastic, the soundtrack is amazing, the game is long, it's very grindy. If you're gonna go for like a complete playthrough, it's very grindy, but it's very fun because the core combat is amazing. I have platinumed this game way back on PlayStation 3, I have done it again on PlayStation 4, and it's just a game that I keep coming back to. You can find it very cheap, so I say it's a great deal. If you have never tried it out, I will say try to give it a shot, because it's really special. Mega Man. You know, it sucks to know that there is now an entire generation that possibly have never played a good Mega Man game, or even one at all, maybe, and that just doesn't sit well with me, because honestly, Mega Man X, I do think it's one of the best video games of all time. It's possibly in the top 5 for me. It's a game that I have went back and completed. Honestly, maybe I have completed it over 100 times. I honestly don't know. Mega Man X is short, you can finish it like in an hour or so, but it's such a good game. It's unbelievable. It really is, and how influential it was to video games in general. So because of this, I'm saying you should try out the Mega Man X collection. At least Mega Man X and Mega Man X4 are amazing. You're gonna love these games. If you have never done it, if you've never played these games, trust me, you will not regret it. And at least now you will understand, what am I fighting for?
Ah! No, this isn't happening. There's no reason for me to go on. What? What am I fighting for?
Still cracks me up to this day. Anyways, these were the games. Hopefully, you will find some of them enjoyable. I have way more than I can talk about, and if you want a part 2 to this, I'll be more than happy to do so because the catalog can be long. If you have enjoyed this video, please leave a like or a comment. It helps the channel so much. I will be leaving a link to the Patreon, Discord, Twitter, and Twitch pages in the description. Thank you so much for watching and stay safe.